History books usually focus on the wars we can easily see, the ones with uniforms, official declarations, and clear battle lines. But the most consequential conflicts of the modern era are fought entirely out of sight. After the Second World War, the globe split into two rival factions. The United States and the Soviet Union possessed enough nuclear firepower to guarantee mutual destruction, making a traditional head-to-head war impossible. They needed a different way to fight. Enter the Central Intelligence Agency. When it was formed, its official mandate was defensive: gather intelligence, analyze foreign threats, and protect American security. Within years, the agency shifted its weight. It began deploying resources to actively manipulate foreign leadership, moving beyond the passive collection of data to become a force that could dismantle a government in weeks. They realized that you don't always need an invading army to conquer a nation. If you know how to engineer fear, manipulate information, and exploit internal divisions, you can dictate the course of a country entirely from the shadows. The first major test of this theory happened in 1953. Iranian Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh decided to nationalize his country's oil industry, immediately cutting off massive profits for British and American corporations. To prevent Iran from slipping out of Western control, the CIA launched Operation Ajax. They bought off local newspapers to spread rumors, bribed politicians, and paid operatives to stage massive street protests. They created the illusion of total domestic chaos, giving the military the excuse it needed to overthrow Mossadegh and reinstate the American-friendly Shah. A year later, they took that exact same blueprint to Guatemala. President Jacobo Arbenz wanted to distribute unused land to poor farmers, land controlled by the American United Fruit Company. Using fake radio broadcasts and funding a tiny rebel force, the agency generated such immense psychological panic that Arbenz's government collapsed, plunging the country into decades of civil war. The formula reached its peak in 1973. In Chile, the agency helped destabilize the democratically elected government of Salvador Allende. They stoked economic protests and fostered dissent within the military, culminating in a coup that ended with Allende dead and General Augusto Pinochet taking power. In just 2 decades, the agency proved that global sovereignty was completely malleable. They could dismantle a state from the inside out, operating behind closed doors and answering to almost no one. But absolute secrecy often breeds overconfidence. When the CIA attempted to overthrow Fidel Castro in Cuba, their covert playbook failed on the beaches of the Bay of Pigs. Failure pushed the agency to explore increasingly dark, unregulated territory. They funded Project MKUltra, secretly dosing citizens with LSD to study mind control, and they ran the Phoenix program in Vietnam, a campaign resulting in thousands of assassinations and interrogations without trial. This ambition eventually collided with the late Cold War in the mountains of Afghanistan. When the Soviet Union invaded, the CIA poured billions of dollars into arming and training local fighters to bleed the Russian army dry. Look at this map showing the financial and weapon supply lines flowing into the region. The operation was a tactical success, forcing the Soviets to retreat. But in intelligence, there is a concept called blowback, the unintended consequences of a covert operation. All the weapons, money, and training didn't evaporate when the war ended. Those well-funded networks fractured and reorganized. Among the empowered fighters was a wealthy extremist named Osama Bin Laden, who used those exact connections to build al-Qaeda. In defeating their adversary of the 20th century, the agency had equipped the network that would become America's primary threat of the 21st. The attacks of September 11, 2001, moved global counterterrorism to the top of the agency's priority list, eclipsing all previous Cold War legacies. In the following years, the agency established untraceable black sites across the entire globe and employed harsh interrogation methods, testing the boundaries of international law for national security. That intense, singular focus eventually narrowed down to a single compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. After several years of continuous satellite surveillance, intercepted digital communications, and recruited local informants, a secret nighttime raid was launched. The highly classified operation ultimately ended with the targeted elimination of Osama bin Laden. While presented as a victory, the raid forced a difficult question to the surface. To keep its citizens safe, does a nation have the right to violate another country's sovereign borders whenever it deems necessary? Today, the theater of intelligence has moved far beyond physical borders and proxy armies. The modern frontline is digital, fought with artificial intelligence, mass data collection, and cyber warfare. And the targets aren't always foreign adversaries. Massive document leaks from whistleblowers have revealed that the exact same sophisticated tools designed to track terrorists are quietly collecting the private digital lives of everyday innocent citizens. Yet the agency works to manage this reality. They routinely act as consultants on Hollywood films, shaping public perception so the intelligence officer is consistently seen as the hero of the story. We are left with a massive contradiction. The agency points to successes like the Bin Laden raid as proof of its necessity. Yet this record sits alongside a history of toppling democracies, funding rogue militias, and seeding the very conflicts it later has to fight. We know they are watching, and we know they act in the dark. The only question left is whether living in that shadow actually makes us safer or more vulnerable to the very systems designed